Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got some news that was shared to us from a community member. And Stacey went down the rabbit hole, has been on the phone with senators, with the FCC, with Congress. This is legit. The government wants to control all of the internet. And it's straight out of the book 1984 that they're using for a manual. If you want to know what they're up to, read that book. And coincidentally, Hitler in 1933 controlled the People's Radio. I'll go into that story in a minute. I got it right here. But that he used it for, you know what? A propaganda machine, along with entertainment and other things. So history repeats. You know, it rhymes anyway. So thank you for being here. My name's Chris. This is Stacey, and this is the Financial Prepper Channel.
It is. So let's get into this, you guys. Thanks, Mike, for bringing this to my attention. So when he actually brought this to my attention, I was like, what? He said, Stacey, is this for real? So I started doing some digging. And I actually have been on the phone today with the FCC and congressmen and senators. And I have been filing that I am against this. All right, you guys, check this out.
And you can too.
You can.
It'll be in the description. Call and tell them it's a no-go. We don't want the government controlling everything we see and hear. And can you imagine? Nuts.
That is what is getting ready to happen. They're saying that apparently the private companies are not handling things properly. So they're going to take over. Let's get into this, you guys. So this is Office of Commissioner Brenan Carr, which, by the way, I'm surprised he'll have a job after this because he's publicly coming out. And he is stating Carr opposes President Biden's plan to give the administrative state effective control of all internet services and infrastructure in the U.S. Quote, this is an unlawful power grab, choosing central planning over free market capitalism.
Well, if he did lose his job over this, that would be a major impeachment on freedom of speech. Can you imagine? It ought to be, I don't know how it's set up, but they should be able to regulate what they want to regulate, you know? But anyway, keep going.
Well, he's just come out, and this is actually November the 6th. And so I called the FCC, and I took about 30 minutes before I found someone on the phone that actually talked to me, and they acknowledged that this is actually true. And she was, in a way, trying to tell me that, yeah, we're not in favor of this. She told me where to go on the FCC website to make a comment, and she recommended contacting your local congressmen and senators, which I have done today. And interestingly enough, these congressmen and senators, their office, they didn't even know this existed. I had to email them this. So you guys, we need to start stepping up and speaking out. Let's get on to this for a little bit. You ready?
Yep.
So they're talking about they're going to do it. It's called Internet for All. And it's going to be digital equity. Everything's going to be equal for everyone.
Doesn't that sound lovely? Y'all know what that means.
Yep.
It's going to be a ripoff.
Said the administration's broadband policies are failing. Therefore, they're going to step in. And I want to talk about this. So last month, President Biden gave the FCC its marching orders. And this is quote, you guys. The president called on the FCC to implement a one-page section of the 2021 Infrastructure Investment Act. We guys talked about this. There were so many hidden things in that bill. Oh, it was so many things. And they're adopting new rules of breathtaking scope, all in the name of, quote, digital equality. Everybody's going to be equal. They want everybody to have internet. For the first time ever, those rules will give the federal government a roving mandate to micromanage nearly every aspect of how the internet functions. They said, talk about central planning. And you guys, this is from this guy. This is the head of FCC. And he's saying this. He said, never before in roughly 40 years of history of public internet has the FCC or any federal agency for that matter claimed this degree of control over it. This breaks it down.
This is really crazy, guys. This is a big grab for the government. They're really trying to make a huge power grab.
Well, it breaks it down even further.
This is so big.
It does, and it says they want to talk about how network infrastructure deployment. They want to talk about the language. They want to talk about what you can say on there, what you can put on there.
You know.
They said the Biden administration plans to empower the FCC to regulate every aspect of the internet sector for the first time ever. You guys, if that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what it is. And it gives all these different things. They said these current companies were previously, I guess, kind of covered. This guy quotes Carr. This is what he says. So to all you business and individuals that will be subject to these FCC regulations for the first times, he says, quote, welcome. I hope you have good lawyers. That's from the head of the FCC. He is fighting back against what Biden is saying. And they're saying
He
that
knows he's in the right.
He does. He does, you guys. They're trying to
Constitution's
regulate.
on his side. We'll see.
Well, they're trying to regulate the internet. I mean, they're trying to control.
Oh, yeah.
So go ahead, what you were saying. And I want to get back to a little bit more on this.
Okay, well, just real quick. An affordable radio brought Nazi propaganda home. This is from Jester Daily. The first Volksempfänger, we're going to call it the German radio, was an affordable, extremely popular device. Of course it was in 1933. It was introduced in 1933. This was no coincidence. In the 1930s, everybody wanted a radio. And I'm not going to read you the whole thing. It was called the People's Receiver.
People's Internet.
All right. So in 1936, Poster predicts a seemingly infinite crowd of congregating around an oversized German radio with a text declaring all German hearers with the People's Radio. Anyway, the moral of the story, I'm going to go down to the end of the article, was...
That was good what you were reading earlier.
The German radio calls how the Third Reich eliminated the freedom of the press and replaced it with propaganda. Mm-hmm. And it infiltrated every facet of daily life.
Yep.
Although mass communication has now expanded beyond the radio, just like the internet has, it's the same thing. So this has been done before. It's obvious. It is obvious what's going on. This must not happen.
So today, you guys, I just want to tell you what I've done personally. So when I read this article, I went out to Chris. I said, this bothers me. So I got on the phone, and I want to just tell you a little bit more. They're calling it, they said, actually, the administration, they said, has no plan to fill for an empty spectrum. They're pretty much saying that there's tons of, they're setting on contracts, will not even approve them for all these internet companies that are asking for different broadbands and stuff like this. And I think it must be apparently for what we're looking at right now. So this is what I did today. I called the FCC, as I told you already earlier. I actually confirmed it with them. They were so great. You could tell the girl was extremely concerned with what's going on. I started calling all my Congress and senators. I've never done that before, you guys. Typically, I'm like, yeah, does that really matter? Interestingly enough, every single office that I spoke to had never heard of this. They had never heard that this was happening. Matter of fact, is one of them was so concerned, Mike Johnson, that was just appointed the House congressman. Mm-hmm. The girl that was there, she said, can you please send me that now? I emailed it to her, and she immediately forwarded it to him. She said, he's up there right now. We've not heard of this. So, you guys, I think at this point, we need to start stepping up. Contact your representatives, your senators, your congresspeople, your... I never thought I would do this, but I am.
No, I always thought it was...
a waste of time.
Yeah, you know, they know what's going wrong.
Well, they didn't
but
today.
I'm hoping we have some more people like the president of the FCC that will stand up and do what's right. You know, this is way, way too far. This is nuts.
Well, it quote, and I'll just give you another one. It said, the Biden administration plans to empower the FCC to regulate every aspect of the internet sector for the first time ever in history. You guys, I can just keep going on and on with this kind of stuff. They're going to regulate land, I mean, just read it.
It's still going to be, you know, they regulate everything.
Yep.
But in Germany, the radio was supposed to be for local channels only. But when everything was just right, you could get international channels. And that was, if you got caught doing it, it was punishable by death. So
If you got caught punishing international by
What?
punishment by death,
yes,
what?
yeah, the people in Germany.
I did
Can
not
I read
know
it to
that.
you?
Yes, I did not know that.
Although they were designed to tune in only local station, it was possible to get international transmission
there's-
like the BBC
I see
in
that.
the evening hours. Listening to these enemy stations became a crime punishable by death during World War II. They didn't want anything, that messed up their propaganda machine, their little box they had, their 100 years before internet,
Well, I was talking to someone about that today, and we were talking about the news you receive and how do you get it? What is the good news and the bad news, and how do you decipher and all that? And I think that's becoming a really big issue. When I read this article, I said, there you go.
Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, well, there's too much misinformation. They've got too many wars. They've got too many things they need to control. This makes perfect sense. So if I was an evil person and wanted to run everybody's life and only save the best for myself, that's exactly what I would do.
Well, I tell everybody, hey, you guys, check this out. I'm going to put this in the description. You guys contact your congressmen, your senators. I've been doing this all day today. FCC, tell them you're against this. This is off of an infrastructure bill off of 2021. They're trying to push it through, and we do not need this to happen.
That's the truth.
So,
Good. Thank you for doing the research. Guys, thank you for being here. This is some pretty big news. And share this video with somebody that they don't know about this. That would be cool. That's how we get the information out through the community. And if you would consider subscribing to the channel, we try to bring valuable content as much as possible, most of the time daily. Have an awesome day. Later.
thank you for getting off the tractor and joining me.
Yeah, no, my face is dirty. Later, guys.